Hello, Gary here, and welcome to another episode of Lost Treasure Stories. In this episode, we bring you two Lost Treasure stories, but after those two stories, we've got an absolutely great story of lost treasure found, so stick around. Okay, enough talk. Let's get on with the stories.
Here's a short lost treasure story, but it concerns 200 pounds of missing gold coins and silver coins. It's from an October 10, 1884 newspaper article out of Maryland that reads, Wender Hastings, aged 70 years, of Salisbury, one of the best-known and wealthiest residents of Maryland, was declared insane yesterday. A guardian was appointed to manage his vast estate. His mind has been affected about 3 months. 4 months ago, he married a young girl who left him shortly after the wedding. He has 7 children by his first wife. Several weeks ago, a son-in-law found nearly 200 pounds of gold and silver money belonging to Hastings hid under the flooring. The next day the money disappeared and none of the family could find it. After great persuasion, Hastings admitted he had put it in an old stove and sunk it in a mill pond. It was recovered, but soon after disappeared again, and can now not be found. Recently, upon purchasing a farm from a neighbor, Hastings brought the money to pay for it in a peck measure. It was all in silver dollars. 2 bags of silver aggregating nearly $1,000 were stolen a few months ago in broad daylight. The thief was caught and is now in prison. Hastings' insanity is of a mild character. It is supposed the money caused his aberration.
Okay, that's the end of this lost treasure story. Mr. Hastings' gold and silver coins were never reported found, but don't go away yet. Our next lost treasure story in this episode is coming up right now. This lost treasure story is a documented fact taken from Steuben County, Indiana historical records. The True Tales of Buried Treasure YouTube channel already has a video about this story, but their story is missing a couple of facts and doesn't pinpoint the location very well. We don't mean to criticize True Tales of Buried Treasure, because here at Lost Treasure Stories, we love their channel. In fact, we're subscribers to their channel. Their stories are taken from old magazines titled Lost Treasure, and sometimes the writers of those articles didn't do detailed research. But Lost Treasure magazine is a great place to get stories. You just need to research the stories that are in them. And we have a link to those magazines in our description box. True Tales of Buried Treasure places this location as a neighboring farm of Fremont, Indiana. But the Downing Brothers farms in Steuben County were actually about 1.5 miles southeast of Clear Lake and just northeast of York, Indiana, bordered by Meade Road and Territorial Road, and over to about North Old State Road 1. So their farms were almost 6 miles southeast of Fremont, Indiana, very close to York. The brothers' farms all connected to each other, with George's farm being to the southeast side of his brother's farms. Here's a close-up portion of the legal land plat map of 1888 showing the Downing farms. Copies of the plat maps should be available from the Steuben County, Indiana Historical Society or the Steuben County Clerk of Court. Okay, let's get on to the story.
If there weren't considerable researched proof of its existence, this story of $100,000 buried on a farm in Steuben County would sound like fiction. The 4 Downing brothers, Samuel, George, Jake, and Bill, were born in Ohio, but the family moved to Steuben County in the 1830s. Sam and George never married. After the death of his brother Sam, George combined the 2 farms, quit farming, and started raising cattle. He also sold timber. According to stories of his neighbors, the McElroy families, George did not trust banks and always buried his money on the farm. It was common knowledge in the neighborhood that he had a small fortune in gold. Very little is known of the brother Jake, only that he married a woman named Mary and lived quietly on a farm near George. William, Bill, went to Colorado when he was 18 years old, then on to Texas where he became a member of the Sam Bast's outlaw gang. He went by the name Frank Jackson. It was this same Bill Downing who stood over the wounded Bast and made an escape with him on horseback. But Bast was too badly wounded to go far. He told Downing to go on and get away. Bill went to New Mexico, where he took part in the Lincoln County War. For the next few years, he worked with different outlaw gangs. No one knows what he did with his part of the stolen money, but it is known that he visited his brother, George, in Indiana, twice before his last visit in 1888. Only a few trusted people knew of his visit. It seems very likely that he buried most of his ill-gotten money on his brother's farm. Bill was captured on September 19, 1899, and sentenced to 10 years at Yuma Territorial Prison. On being released in 1908, he met William M. Billy Breckinridge and said to him, "I'm going home to Indiana and dig up some money that will put me back in business." Breckinridge, who had been a territorial peace officer, a Wells Fargo agent, a U.S. deputy marshal, and a sheriff of Pima County, Arizona, had known Downing a long time. Bill was killed in August 1908 by Ranger William Speed at Wilcox, Arizona. As far as can be learned, he never visited Indiana after 1888. It is believed that his money is still buried on the farm of his brother, George. It is a known fact that Bill Downing visited his brother George a few years after the Sam Bast gang was broken up in the shootout at Round Rock, Texas, in July 1878. No record of George Downing having any money in a bank can be found. When it is considered that he sold hundreds of cattle and thousands of trees for lumber over a period of 50 to 60 years, he had to accumulate quite a fortune. No report of this cash, or caches, can be found. A story circulated in the area several years ago that a small amount of gold was found on the farm. But I can learn nothing positive on this. In 1891, 2 men broke into George's home and tortured him for hours in an effort to learn where the money was. They learned nothing, and George was crippled for life. The 2 hoodlums were never caught. George Downing died in 1917, at age 90. His farm stood near York, Indiana. From all of the evidence, there should be over $100,000 buried by both George and Bill on this farm that has not been reported found. Anyone interested in searching should contact the county court clerk at Angola, Indiana, to learn who owns the property now, since it has changed hands over the years.
And now it's time for our Lost Treasure Found story. I know you're going to enjoy it.
This Lost Treasure Found story is from a State Historical Society of Missouri newspaper article, dated February 3, 1899, and it reads, Judge A.J. O'Neill deposited in a local bank in Springfield, Missouri, last Tuesday, $7,000 in gold, which was recently dug up from Greene County soil. Judge O'Neill's father, who resides in Republic, Greene County, is 94 years old and is an eccentric old man. For years it has been a mystery with his family what he had been doing with his money, as he was never known to spend but little. Recently he was taken ill, and when he began to realize that the end was near, he revealed a secret to his son that he had been burying gold in his orchard for many years. He pointed out the spot, and after digging into the ground 2 feet they found 2 stone jars. In one there was $4,000 in gold and the other about $3,000. The old man had been secretly burying his money for the past 25 years, and not a single member of his family had any suspicion of it. He was born in Kentucky in 1805, and moved to Greene County 80 years ago with his parents, who were the second white family in the county. Indians were numerous, and Mr. O'Neill has often related many thrilling incidents. He is the father of 13 children, 11 of whom are still living. His son, A.J. O'Neill, was last fall elected presiding judge of the County Court of Greene County.
Okay, that wraps up this episode of Lost Treasure Stories. Our next episode is coming soon, so hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it, and make sure you have your notifications turned on.